Hey YouTube, welcome to Jack's Low Carb Journey, episode 39, I think is what it is. It's something like that, 38, 39, 38. It's 38. All right, so what are we going to do today? We're going to have, number one, I'm going to keep my promise to you. Weigh-in Wednesday. I'll give you a weight update. I'm going to start doing those weekly instead of every day. It got kind of boring when I stopped losing a pound a day. And then kind of commensurate with our first weigh-in Wednesday, we're going to talk about stalls. What happens when you know you're going along, you're doing keto, you think you're doing everything right, and the weight loss just stops? It just stops. And you're fighting, you think you're doing it all, and we're going to talk about that. First, my weigh-in Wednesday for you. The last time I think I gave you a weight, I was 216 something, right? Today, I am 214 pounds even. I actually hit that number first time on Sunday. And in between then and now, I've been up to 214.6 and back down to 214. Bouncing around, a couple pounds up and down, it happens. But, you know, when you're at, in my last 3 days, 214, 214.6, 214, I'm going to lock that in as my final answer. My current weight is around 214 pounds. Big deal for me. And the reason it's a big deal for me is it puts me at 33 pounds. I'm now 2 pounds away from my weight plate ceremony. Whenever I hit 15, I didn't do it at 15. I should have done it at 10 and 15, but at 25 pounds, I brought a 25-pound weight plate in here because that represents how much weight I've lost. And it's a thing, when you lose that kind of weight, to pick something up as much as you lost, puts it in perspective. It makes you really appreciate the work that you've done and the change that has come in your life. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully within 10 days, maybe by next weigh-in Wednesday, we will have the 35-pound plate in here. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I've been losing around 2 pounds over 10 days. That only gives me 7, so it's going to be highly probable that I'm sitting here going 212.8 or something like that. We'll see. All right. So let's talk about this stall thing, and let's talk about what I think the main cause. Oh, the other thing I didn't do, I didn't get the beard trim and the haircut, so maybe there's a half pound of hair still on my head. I didn't have time this week, and today doesn't look good either. First thing I had to do this morning was pull up part of the floor in the duck house because I put the babies in there last night for the first time, and 5 of them managed to figure out how to get under the floor. So I walked in and had 7 little baby ducks peeping and looking at me, along with the big ducks. They all ran out like they usually do, and everybody was okay, but it did set me back half hour this morning having to get tools out and pull up the floor and do it in a way where I could just put it back down without having to mess anything up. So, and that means that when I'm done with work today, I got to go out there and fix it back the way it's supposed to be and then fix it so they can't get in there anymore. So I don't know if I'll get out the door at all to get a haircut today, but I promised my wife I'll do it this week, so you guys will see me with cut hairs by the end of the week, or let's say Monday at the latest. All right, so let's talk about stalls. Main cause of stalls on keto or any low-carb type of diet. I'm going to tell you that the number one thing that I've been able to ferret out for people is overeating. Just flat out too many calories. And that can take a variety of forms, but I want to start with just straight-up calories. And the reason for this mostly, not always, but mostly, is this belief that, well, if you just stay under 20 carbs, you can eat as much as you want. No, you can't. No, you can't. Especially if you are a food addict. I've been trying to tell you guys from the very beginning that calories count. Calories do matter. I do think that a large number of people can eat as much as they want because if they get on a ketogenic profile of macros, and they're getting about 70% of their calories from fats, good quality fats, the balance from protein, and only eating 20 or less carbs, they are going to self-moderate their intake, and about half of the people won't. 50-50 is pretty good odds that you are one of the people that won't. It's like flipping a coin. Heads you will, tails you won't. Got it? So the first place to look is how much you're eating. And if you are clinging to this belief and you're stalled, maybe it's time you stop clinging to a belief in the presence of evidence that shows otherwise, which is your own stalled weight loss. Number 2 is, and it goes right in with too much calories, is too much fat. There are people that literally get afraid to eat protein. They learn a special word, Gluconeogenesis, then they think they're a scientist. And then they're afraid that if they eat too much protein that they're going to get kicked out of ketosis. You can do it with protein. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. You have to be overeating your calories and overeating your protein to maybe do this. Okay? It's still, we're back to a calories issue. If your body is getting enough calories and is being put in a state where it's living on its fat stores as well, and you're eating protein, and maybe you're eating more than you need to, but you're not getting stupid with it, your body's going to turn as much of it into glucose as it needs, not all of it that's there. It's going to use the majority of your protein for structural maintenance of your body. Because your body would prefer to turn protein into muscle and cells and fibers, etc., than it would to turn protein into glucose. It does gluconeogenesis, which is highly inefficient because it needs to. But what happens is, because people get afraid of the protein, they start eating massive amounts of fat, doing fat bombs and stuff like that, and it goes right back to point one, too many calories. Number 3, overeating carbs. People start believing bullshit like, but the carbs in vegetables don't count. I don't know how the hell you can think you need to keep your carbohydrates under 20 and then go eat 40 carbohydrates, but 20 of them come from vegetables, and say that those carbs don't count. Like there's some kind of magical carbohydrate that doesn't count. And when people start doing that, and they're pushing their carb intake to the limit everywhere else with, well, this flax tortilla only has 4 net carbs, and they're eating one of those, plus they're eating like 15, 20 carbs of vegetables with dinner, you're going to have blood sugar spikes, and you're going to push yourself out of ketosis. So you need to be counting all your carbohydrates. I am a believer in net carbs, as long as we're not getting some stupid amount of some stupid amount of fiber carbs. If we're getting a stupid amount of fiber carbs because we're making all kinds of keto treats, then we can break the net carb system. Day-to-day normal eating, the net carb system works just fine. And the number of 20, that's something that basically fits all the way back to the higher protein version we called Atkins, the middle version that we call Protein Power from the Dr. Z's, the current keto, etc. All of these diets that ended up with about 20 carbs a day as an intervention phase were based on net carbs. So the net carb thing works, but you can still be overeating your carbs. And you can break that net carb system if you get stupid with it. Next, not enough exercise and movement. I can lose weight without exercising for a while. Walk, lift light weights, move. Moving is more important than exercising. Get up and move. Get up in the middle of the day and take a walk. If you have breaks at work and you work behind a desk, stand up. Even if you can get a stand-up desk at work, standing alone helps to burn calories, believe it or not. And being able to stand up at your desk and work just for 10 minutes out of the hour is good for your body. Get your body moving. Next is, you're not stalled. You have what we call a false stall, which means you're impatient. I've had people tell me they're stalled, and I look at their numbers, and they lost 3 pounds over the last 10 days. You're not stalled. But what they say is, but see, I lost those 3 pounds in the first 2, and I haven't lost a pound in 8 days. You're not stalled. If you look at your numbers over 10, 20 days, and you're losing weight, even if it's only a pound every 10 days, I'm sorry it's not faster for you, but you're not stalled. Be patient. Trust the system. The next is, your metabolic system simply needs more time to recover. I have a couple people in my trial, and I'm trusting that they're doing what they say they're doing. There's always the possibility it's one of these other things. But I think some of them have been, 50% body fat or more for so long that their metabolic system, their endocrine system, their hormones in their body are so jacked up that it's just going to take them, it might take them 60, 70 days to really heal the damage that they've already done so their body can begin correcting it. And they may have very, very slow weight loss. They may not everybody that does this in the first 10 days loses 5 pounds. Not everybody, and some people in the first 10 days lose like 14 pounds. It's crazy. Most of those people are, if you look at the people that have that kind of weight loss, when I say it's water, it's different than it is for a lot of other people. They're retaining water in, like, you see their stomachs, People that do that, and my stomach was like this when I started. It's tight. It almost seems like if you went up to them and nicked them with a razor blade, they'd blow up, and they might. Who knows? And a lot of it sometimes is you're overworking your pancreas and your liver. You've got bile in your system. And those people, when they go into a ketogenic diet, a lot of times that can, for some, correct really, really fast. And then the body just stops producing that excess. And then it gets rid of what's there. And they have that huge drop. And then they go to a more typical, 1 to 2 pounds, 1 to 3 pounds really over 10 days. Some people don't have that big drop. And they just need to stick with the plan and trust the system. So what are some things we can do if we feel that we're really in a stall? Number one, track your macros religiously. Get the Keto Diet app or some other app and record every single thing you eat. And be careful in the mornings with your coffees, folks. I got people that think they're doing 2 meals a day, but they're drinking 400 calories. Don't do that and think you're intermittent fasting. You can have coffee with a tablespoon of cream in it and still truly get most of the benefits of intermittent fasting in like an 18-hour fasting window. You can do that. When you put 2 tablespoons of cream in there, a tablespoon of MCT oil, some coconut cream, and God knows what else in there, and you end up with a 400-calorie macchiato, you're not intermittent fasting. You know what? Some days I do that. Especially like Sunday mornings. I love on a Sunday morning. I'll have to give you guys, I'm not going to do it today. We'll get too long. But I'm going to give you guys my chocolate cinnamon coffee recipe. But you don't do it every day. You don't do it every day. It just is not a good idea. Number 2, and I did this when I got in a stall a few weeks ago, and it worked really well for me. Go carnivore for a week. If it didn't have a face, don't eat it for a week. And during that week, go ahead and eat as much as you want. What you'll find if you're doing that with carnivore, it's going to be very difficult to overconsume your calories. Some of you might be able to break that system, so pay a little bit of attention. But if you're eating steak and ground beef and eggs pretty much exclusively, maybe a couple berries or a small little pinch of nuts here and there, and that's all you're eating, it's hard to really go and eat 10,000 calories. In a week you're doing carnivore, do whole foods only. And what I mean by that is stay away from sausages, especially cured sausages and stuff like that. I like those things. I eat them. They are keto, okay? But you can consume a hell of a lot more, artisan cured salami than you can ribeye. You just can. It's just a thing about human beings. So make sure that if you do the carnivore challenge for a week or two, you're really eating whole foods, not processed meats. Be prepared for, I hate to use the word, some of you don't like it, get over it, diarrhea though. I'll just say it's a thing. Even when you're keto adapted, sometimes when you go carnivore, it happens. All right. Next, you might want to try a multi-day fast. I haven't done that this time around yet. If I get stuck and I really feel that that's what I need to do, I will. That'll let autophagy kick in, which is where your body actually repairs damage. And remember I said some of you, it might take a long time for you to repair the metabolic damage you've done to your body. Because the whole reason this really works is 2 things. Reduction of inflammation and the balancing of the hormones, the endocrine system. That's what makes this do what it does. So a lot of things like getting fat out of your pancreas, fat out of your liver, and balancing the endocrine system is going to come with the autophagy, which is the body. Basically, it's like spring cleaning. We're going to get rid of these old nasty cells that don't really work anymore and build new ones. And your body does that best when in a fasted state. So some of you, doing a 3 or 4 or even 5-day fast, as hard as it may seem to do, may be the thing that gets enough of that autophagy done that then when you go back to a good clean keto diet, it can do what it's supposed to do for you. And I have never done a really long fast. My understanding is it's the first day or 2 days of a fast that are miserable. The 3rd and 4th, 5th day, people tend to do pretty well on them because the body adjusts to it. And if you're going to try this, you're better off eating nothing than eating a little bit. I know it sounds crazy, but everybody that's actually done it, that's what they say. It's the first couple days are ravenous. Third day, and eventually when they start eating, it become ravenous again. But it might be worth doing if nothing else is working for you. Get more movement-based exercise. Just can't emphasize that enough. Again, I've had people tell me that, I walk and my hips hurt or my ankles hurt and all. You're a human being. The way you get places is by walking there. And if you have trouble walking a couple miles, then walk a quarter mile until you can walk a quarter mile without a lot of discomfort, and then walk a half. And, that's not a real hard number. That means if you walk 2 miles and you have pain, but you can walk a mile and you have none, walk a mile and a quarter. Walk enough till you just put yourself to the discomfort level so you have something to push through. Don't push through it hard. Don't make things worse. And you'll find that all of a sudden walking 3 or 4 or 5 miles in a day is actually pretty easy to do. I think my highest day last week was almost 9 miles. And all I did was walk around the property and work all day. And I put 9 miles in. And, I felt just fine. And so if I would have tried that 2 months ago, I could walk 2-3 miles 2 months ago pretty decently. But if I would have tried 9, I think I would have been on my back. So it comes with time. Get movement-based exercise into your life. And that's how our ancestors did it. Our ancestors, people want to talk about, they had to push boulders. And I don't know what the hell you're talking about, right? Our ancestors did not do a lot of heavy weightlifting. And the heavy movements that they had to make at times were not done sufficiently to be of a training therapeutic level. The main exercise our ancestors got was moving. That's what we should do. We're eating our ancestors' diet. We should have our ancestors' level of activity, which is everywhere they had to go, they walked there. This is, for 100,000 generations, we didn't even have horses and carriages. Most of that, we didn't have the wheel. We walked. Do what your ancestors did. Be patient and trust the system. I know I say that all the time, but when you build a fire, if you follow the system, you're going to get a fire. If you trust the keto system, and if you stop complaining about what you can't have and focus on what you can have, and you stop doing like replacement keto treats therapy and all that crap, and you just do what you're supposed to do and eat whole foods, it will work for you. It may take longer for you than it did for me. And for some of you, it may take a lot. I got guys on my challenge, I'm like, holy crap, you're blowing me away. I told the one guy, you are a fucking rock star. And he is. And I can't be jealous of that. I have to accept what hand I've been dealt. I'm the one that put myself in the position I did. I'm the one that didn't take care of myself for all those years. This guy's, he was a lot heavier than me. He was also a lot younger. Less years of damage. I'm the one that damaged my body. I got to wait for it to fix itself. Be patient. Number 2, try to get on 2 meals a day. It's not as hard as you think, and I'm going to tell you that it sounds hard until you do it, and when you do it, everything gets easier. Staying under your calories is easy. If you're at 1,800 calories, that's 900 calories a meal versus 6. You see how that works? It's not hard, and when you get adapted to the state that you're supposed to be in, you have to make yourself eat that first meal of the day. I'm usually eating right now about 3 o'clock for my first meal of the day, and I make myself go do it. Let's see the time here. All right. So, next, don't use fat bombs unless you need them to get up to the caloric intake that you're looking for. I have people bitching that they're hungry and they're doing fat bombs. Wrong answer. A fat bomb lets you consume a lot in a small volume. The main reason I have people doing fat bombs, like, MCT oil and coffee and stuff like that, is when you look at their macros, they're not getting to their caloric intake, even at the restricted level that they're at for weight loss, and their fat's low. So let's throw a tablespoon of avocado oil on the salad, and let's have a tablespoon of MCT oil, and then we look at it and go, okay, now our ratios are right. Fat bombs don't make you go into ketosis. Okay? And I don't even like the term fat bomb. What the hell are you fat bombing for? right? I don't like that term. I like the idea of consuming sufficient fat for your goals, however you tend to do that. But when we concentrate it into a single meal, you guys worry about gluconeogenesis. The body can and will turn fats into glucose if it needs to. So that's why calories count, calories matter, and how much we eat at one time matters. And bombing our body with 400 calories of fat first thing in the morning and then say we're on a 2 meal a day intermittent fast, we're deceiving ourselves. Next, avoid replacement therapy as much as possible. I know I preach that, but good Lord. Stop the keto treats, the keto cookies, the keto bread. Just eat whole foods for your first 40 to 90 days. I know it seems like a big deal, but my God, you have, again, there's a lot. Now, understand, if you go to the gym and have been going to the gym and you work out, whatever, you're pretty athletic, you look pretty good, you're in pretty good shape, and you just realize, hey, I've put on an extra 15 pounds. A lot of this doesn't apply to you. You're just trying to lose 10, 15 pounds. In some ways, you may actually have to focus more on the caloric restriction than others because you only have a little bit to lose, and that last bit is kind of hard. But, I'm less on you about the keto breads and stuff because you haven't done as much damage to yourself. You can have a little bit more of that. Those of you that have significantly damaged yourselves and you know who you are, just don't. Just don't, because you're an alcoholic hanging out in a bar, right? You're a drug addict hanging out at a party where people are doing drugs when you're doing that. You're going to overeat, and it's going to lead you astray. You're going to overconsume carbs and convince yourself that you're not, and you're going to end up in a stall, or you're going to start putting weight back on. So just avoid the replacement therapy as much as possible. Eat a lot of whole foods in the form of vegetables. Now, this may seem to counter my earlier concept of maybe do carnivore for a week or two. It doesn't. While you're doing carnivore, you don't do this. Otherwise, you do. Big salads, raw, green vegetables, high fiber vegetables. Your treat vegetables in there are your peppers and your tomatoes and your cucumbers and stuff like that, right? For cooked vegetables, broccoli and kale and other cruciferous vegetables, cauliflower if you like it, I don't know. Be careful of things like Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts have a tremendous amount of carbohydrates in them. And people that like them can eat a lot of them. You got to watch the carbohydrates in the vegetables. Keep the carbs down, but keep the volume of vegetables up. This is going to give you lots of your your micronutrients and micro minerals. And vitamins. It's also going to give you that sensation of being full. It's going to make you satisfied, and it's how our ancestors ate. They did eat a heavily plant-based diet. I actually considered keto to be, for most people, a highly plant-based diet. Carnivore is a subset that's not, but it really is like when you look at not the calories, but the physical volume, you should probably be eating more plants than meat. You're just eating the right kind of plants, the kind of plants we had before, 10,000 years of human selective breeding and genetic engineering took over. Last, drink water. I drain a gallon to a gallon and a half of water a day right now. When I first got on keto, I bet you I was drinking 2 gallons of water a day minimum. And yeah, it sucks. Every 25 minutes you're taking a piss. I understand. It's annoying. Your body, when you go to ketogenics, or even like a Whole30, paleo, primal, any of this stuff, right, where we're seriously reducing carbohydrates, even the plans that don't take us down to 20 and ketosis, in this situation, the body has stored massive amounts of toxins. This is why we don't like feedlot beef that we talked about yesterday, because the body stores the majority of toxins that it holds on to in various forms of fat. We start to let go of that fat. We start to burn that fat, and we start to dump that fat. We take the fat out of the fat storage cell is what we're really doing, okay? These toxins are now flowing through your body. And while we're trying to balance it through toxic elimination, we're actually upping the toxins that are in our bloodstream for a while. That's why we get keto rashes. That's why, like, I got these ridiculous zits. There would, not 10 of them, just one would pop up in some place, and it would be huge, like a little. It was more like a little, what do you call it? Like a little boil or something than a zit, even though it was a zit. And that's toxins. And the number one way you get rid of this shit is you pee it and poop it out. So by giving your body lots of water, you're helping it flush that out. You're also getting a sensation of being full, you know. And those of you that weigh yourself like multiple times a day, and I know some of you do, you'll probably notice, oh, I drink a shitload of water and I weigh 2 pounds more now. Don't be stupid about that. Don't think, well, I want to weigh less tomorrow, so I'm not going to drink water today. That's stupid. Water doesn't make you gain weight. While it's in you, you weigh more because you're you plus the water in you. Don't play stupid games like that trying to make the scale say a different number. And I know some of you do it, so don't do that. That's dumb. It's stupid, okay? To quote Dr. Ken Berry, that's stupid. Don't do that. So there you go. Those are the reasons behind stalls and the main things that I think that you can do about them. But I think the majority of people, if you're tracking your macros, you're not overeating, you're balanced in your macros, okay? You're not doing replacement therapy. You're not eating tons of chaffles and all this other shit. You're not eating massive amount. Be careful with the cheese. Cheese is fine, but those of you that are getting a significant portion of your calories from cheese, cheese is for sprinkling. My wife gets mad when I tell her that, but it's true. If you're doing all of that right, and what you consider a stall is over the last 10 days you lost 1 pound, or over the last 20 days you lost 3, but over the last 10 you're kind of break even, you're probably not stalled. Just be patient. Be patient. Go talk to that person in your mirror. Cause of and solution to all of your problems. Get up and move. Get up and move. Get up and move. And if you say, well, I am walking, well, how much? If you're walking 2 miles a day and you feel stalled, walk 3. You're worth it. Maybe you'll see something when you're walking. It'll make you happy and you lose weight. With that, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. If you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, comments, put them below. I didn't get attacked by the keto police yesterday. I really thought I was going to. I'm actually kind of disappointed. Maybe I was so compelling that I shut them all up. I don't know. That, you know how YouTube is. That video could be months from now, and somebody will post it on a keto blog somewhere, and the keto police will come and get me. I'm just going to keep telling you guys the truth as I understand it. Try to differentiate when I have opinion versus fact. And like I said, I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow with another episode. But let me know what you want to hear. I'll try to do it for you. Almost all of these videos I've done after the first 5 have come from either direct feedback from like my Facebook page or from people asking comments here. So if you ask, I might just answer you.